Hey everybody, this is part 2 of Unit In-Depth Assassins, which is a special video installment of Codex In-Depth, because they did have a Codex back in the day. Anyway, this is a special thing I'm doing. And we're going to talk about the Deathcult Assassins today. They're not an assassin temple, they're not part of the Officio Assassinorum. They are essentially a bunch of assassin cults on a variety and multitude of imperial worlds. Some of which are chaos and evil and must be destroyed, but almost all of them, a majority of them I should say, are loyal to the Imperial Creed and the Emperor. And the reason they do what they do is they feel they're paying the Emperor of Mankind the blood debt that all of mankind owes the Emperor. So they're superiorly trained to standard troops, and they use ritualistic weapons, all melee stuff, and Inquisitors and Inquisitors Lords find their abilities useful. So, that's the Deathcult Assassin, and we're going to talk about it. There are 40 points per model, and they can be fielded in 1 to 3 as a single elite choice, meaning you can have 1 to 3 as a single elite choice, but they don't have to be placed together and they operate independently during the game. Meaning, even if you do place them together, they can't join together as squads, because they can't join squads, because of the independent rule, just like the Officio Assassinorum operatives. But so if you're shooting at one, you're not hitting the other two if you do 4 wounds against it. So the 40 points, and what does that get you? Well, it gets you a decent stat line. It gets you weapon skill 5, always handy because you're a melee guy, especially when you're a melee guy, I should say. Ballistic skill 4, which doesn't do anything because they have no ranged attacks. Strength of 4, which is very nice for doing the wounds in close combat. Toughness of 3, and they're humans, so that's to be expected. 2 wounds, which is very nice. Initiative of 5, handy. 2 attacks, base, with a leadership at 8 and a 5+ save. So overall, I mean, their save is kind of weak, but it's an invulnerable save as well. So I mean, they represent that they're not as well trained as the Officio Assassinorum assassins, but they're still pretty agile. And the weapons they have is a power weapon and a close combat weapon. So they get +1 for having 2 close combat weapons. So they have 3 attacks because of that before the charge. So 4 on the charge. And the special rules, like I said, they're independent, which means they can't ride in transports or join squads, and they don't count as scoring for any purposes that they might count as scoring. Just like the Officio Assassinorum, they have the vulnerable rule, just like the Officio Assassinorum, so their saving throw is an invulnerable saving throw. They also have Fearless. They pretty much have the same exact special rule set, generic special rule sets as the generic special rules for Officio Assassinorum temples. They are Fearless and they can infiltrate. They also have the same drawback, meaning you can only field Deathcult Assassins if you have an Inquisitor Lord or an Inquisitor as part of the force. Meaning, again, if you want to take Deathcult Assassins as allies, you need an Inquisitor or an Inquisitor Lord as well in order to gain access to the Deathcult Assassins, which is why you're probably not going to see them as allies for anybody. You have a higher chance of seeing them as allies in an Imperial Guard army with Inquisitorial allies. Although, even then, that's rare, because usually you either have Scissors of Battle, Grey Knights, or Inquisitor as the thing, and they're not taking the Inquisitor for the Assassins, so who knows. But, in a Witch Hunter or a Demon Hunter Codex, which they're in both, just like the Officio Assassinorum operatives, you need an Inquisitor or Inquisitor Lord to take it. This is kind of cool and handy if you want to, play a more radical list, like a more inquisitorial heavy list, and field some radical units, like in Demon Hunter's Demon Host, which means you can't field any Grey Knight anything. So might as well take Deathcult Assassins to help beef up the force. Anyway, a quick blurb on them because this is kind of short, and I might as well do a little bit about them tactically here, because the conclusion video is going to be based on solely the 4 assassin temples. So, playing these guys. Remember, they have a 3 toughness, a toughness of 3 I should say, and a 5+ invuln save. Meaning you'll get a save against practically everything. But it's not that good of a save, and they get instant killed by strength 6 or higher weapons, so you have to be careful. They do have 2 wounds, so in the event that they do get shot at with something, if they stay, especially when they're in cover and they stay. If they take the odd wound, then they're not going to just die. They can continue on to assault. I would always take 3. If you're going to field 1, might as well field 3. That way, there's, there's a better chance of one of them reaching a target to assault. I personally would place them together, not as a unit because they can't be, but I mean just next to each other, near each other, and moving up one flank through cover and whatnot. Because the potential for having 3 assault 1 unit is potentially devastating. With power weapons at weapon skill 5 and initiative 5. So might as well not discount that. Also, it minimizes what can shoot at them. And what can shoot at them has to pick which ones they're going to shoot at. So if you're able to infiltrate them into cover, for example, and only have essentially 1 or 2 units can shoot at them, they have to choose. What am I going to shoot at? They have 3 separate targets, and now they have a nice cover save. So it helps with survivability even more. I'm a huge fan of outflank, by the way, and the ability to outflank for these guys I think is awesome as well. So I would probably, if I'm going to use them offensively, outflank them. Keep them in reserve. They're in reserve, meaning your enemy is either going to be careful about what they put on their flanks, or be, they might not be, but you have the chance of, it's a little random, but you got a 50-50 chance essentially. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You got a little bit higher than 50-50 chance of getting on the table side you want. Because 1 or 2 is the left, I believe, left table corner edge. 3 or 4 is the right table edge, and 5 or 6 you choose. So if you want right, you technically have to roll 3 or better. And that's so you get it. If you want left, you have to roll and just not 3 or 4. So you have a pretty good chance of going where you want to go. And that'll give you the ability to assault things that are kept on the flank, especially if you place objectives near there, as well as if the enemy is pushing forward against you. If they're an assault heavy army, you've now got a unit potentially behind them, especially in Annihilation, if they don't have many shooting, or you got the ability to assault things that are kept back for just such a reason. They're weak in the assault. That's always good. And a third way to use these guys is defensively, meaning you field an Inquisitor army with them in it, with a bunch of shooting. You can keep them as kind of like, the Inquisitor has his own retinue. You can keep them around that, and then countercharge. So if you're going against, especially going against like assault heavy armies and you're doing a lot of shooting, you can keep them back, move them in position, and then jump out and assault something. That way. They only move 6 inches, but I mean, if you time it right, you can do that. So that's pretty much the Deathcult Assassins. They cost as much as the Terminator. They got pretty decent stats. Power weapons are always handy to ignore armor saves or force lesser and bone saves. And pretty much, they're decent at taking out some independent characters, as well as just carving through generic troop choices, and the troops are so important in 5th edition. I think, because troops are so important, they're good at doing that, and the ability to outflank, I think you'll see an increased potential for Deathcult Assassins. Now granted, Witch Hunter and Demon Hunter armies are rare. Just the local gaming store I play at has a couple of Witch Hunters, including one of my friends, and like a Demon Hunter or 2. But I think that's a rather high concentration, and even with that, it's still rare compared to the amount of people that play and what armies are being played. So because it's rare, you're not going to see Deathcult Assassins as much. I know if I build a radical list, I'll include 3 of them. But now with the outflanking and troops being so important, I think their performance, or the ability to perform well, has increased, and I think they'll become more attractive unit choices for people who are fielding Inquisitors in their army. Time will tell, but who knows. So that's it. The next video will be the Calexis Assassin. So until next time, take it easy.